All right, we've got a fun exercise here. We're gonna be doing the color blocks. This is gonna be really helpful for getting you to understand color, especially how it relates to value. Because I took this photo and put it in black and white, and you can already see like certain things that you probably wouldn't have guessed, like this yellow triangle here, how dark it is. Like you would think that the value of this is similar to the value of this, but it's not. You can see how much brighter the white sphere is. Same with like this wood block here. It's not as much, or the pink back there. So this is going to help you a lot with not getting saturation confused with value. I got a little 6x8 inch lens panel here, keeping it very small for this study. I put a wash of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. It's actually acrylic paint. Put it on like 10 minutes ago. It's already dry. Used a pencil, put the grid lines in, help us draw this in. Purposely kept my palette very simple. If you're just starting out, if you feel like you're not comfortable with color, highly recommend this palette right here, which is just ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, cadmium red, cadmium lemon, and titanium white. And it's pretty much, you know, just the primaries, but with two reds. This is a cooler red. This is a warmer red. I'll kind of show you as we go, like how and when to use each. You don't need both. You could just have crimson. You could just have cadmium red. So I'm going to draw this in. So I think I got a little bit of everything in there. I'm ready to start painting. I'm actually going to grab a slightly bigger brush here. Got a number 2 brush. Now let's get some of this background in. So like when you look at this color, it's definitely one of the darker values, if not the darkest. Darkest is probably going to be in here. It's pretty dark, but whenever you see a color like this, you're like, oh, like what color is that? Is that gray? I always try not to think of gray as a color, but something you do to a color. So I always like to try and identify the color as like one of the main 6 colors, you know, try and identify it as something that's either red, yellow, blue, green, orange, or purple. Like this, if I had to guess, I'd say it's a purple. So that's like where I'm going to start. So we're going to mix up a purple with blue and red. It's like, all right, this is pretty dark. And it's desaturated. I want to desaturate, so I'm going to put some yellow into it. Maybe a touch of white. A lot of times with purple, you have to put a little white in to like actually see it. It's like, okay, that's actually looking not too bad. So I'm going to get some of this in. To have to at least like compare colors as I start going. You can also use this as like an opportunity to kind of like dial in your drawing a little better. But the main thing here is just getting that value correct. And you can see it gets lighter as it comes forward, so maybe add a touch of white, maybe a little red, warm it up. And you can always alter this as you go. Don't feel like this is locked in, because as you put in other colors, you're gonna, and other values, you're gonna look at this differently. It's meant to just kind of give us somewhere to start. All right, I'm actually going to get these cast shadows because those are very, very dark. So if I really want to get something really dark, get some blue and the cad red, and just a touch of yellow. You can see this is going to be pretty much almost black. I just want to take a quick break from the lesson to let you know that the full tutorial of the painting that you're seeing in this video is available on Paint Coach Studio. In there I have literally hundreds of real-time painting tutorials all done by me. It's a great way to demystify the painting process and see how a painting is made and how it's not magic. It's a series of steps that you can learn too. I upload a new one every single week, so you never have to worry about not having something to paint. And once you're in, you also get to be a part of the paint coach private Facebook group that has close to 1,000 members. It's a great positive painting community of like-minded students that are learning just like you. You can try it free for 7 days to see if you like it. I'll put a link to where you can do that in the description of this video. But I like getting these dark shadows in first because it's pretty easy to get right and gauge the values because it's, pretty much black. And so once I get that, it's like, okay, at least I know I got something on here that I can rely on as being, pretty correct. A little shadow in there. All right, so let's do this red one first. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, all right, this is definitely the lightest value, but look down here. It's not like super, super bright. So if I get a red, I'm gonna get a little bit of yellow into it. And just a touch of blue, just a very little bit, just to knock it back. Little rule of thumb, like whenever you're painting, nothing is gonna be straight out of the tube. They always say like nothing in nature is just a color straight out of the tube. So even if you have to put like a little bit of the complement in there, red's complement's green, so a little yellow, little blue. Like I said earlier, you're always going to be wanting to put in one of each of the primaries. I'm putting that in. Maybe a little more yellow. See how that's not, it's bright, it's saturated in terms of being bright. But value-wise, remember, it's not that. This isn't, like I didn't put white into it at all. Still might be able to push a little bit of yellow into it. And the thing I do is like I squint my eyes. When you squint your eyes, you can see how much lighter this is in the ground. I squint my eyes, is mine doing that? I actually think I actually might need to add a touch of white to it. But I actually want to move down to this one, which is a little bit darker. So I'm just going to branch off a little more red, grab a little bit of blue, touch of yellow. Now it's darker, but it's not like an extreme amount of darker. Kind of something like that. I think that's pretty close. I'm going to push a little bit of crimson, which is a cooler red, actually a little more blue. Because when you squint your eyes, like look how close this is in value to that. Like you almost lose it. Could actually push a good amount of blue. Because also what's happening down here is this little plane is getting light reflected from the ground, which is that cooler purplish color. It's not too bad. All right, let's move on to the green block. Now this green block, I look at the value, I'm like, wow, that's really close to that ground value. So let's start with a green, blue and yellow, get you green. Then let's get some of green's complement red. Knock this back a bit. More blue, a little more yellow. See how I'm like kind of testing the color out? A little more blue into it. And now this side is shadowed, and I know you're seeing like that yellow being reflected by this into there. Don't worry about that right now. Just get the shadow in. So just gonna push a little more blue and red into it. Another thing, look how this shadow kind of almost loses it into that background. keep that in mind. And squint your eyes and see if your value relationship between these two planes is right. I think I might need to go a little darker with my side here. But you might have to go a little, it might be different for you. Let me get this angle down. Like I might need to add a touch of white. And I might need to lighten up this side just a little bit. Now the top is definitely the lightest side. I'm gonna add a little bit of white. Always like ask yourself, like, you know, is this like a warm green? Is it a cool green? It's actually kind of cool. I mean, it's all relative. There's no other green in here to like compare it to, but here. So let's take some yellow. Maybe a touch of the red, getting that warmer color. And this is what I like to do a lot with reflected light, is I just lightly drag my brush into there. Actually, it's a little more orangey. So it's kind of on the top there. See how it blends in? So now once we go to our yellow, get a touch of the red into the yellow, just a little bit of blue, just a touch. It's still going to look very bright and vibrant. You push a little more red. If you want, kind of mix in a little more red to get like an orange. I can kind of play that up a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to darken this yellow with the yellow's complement, which is purple, which you can get with blue and red. And your yellow's going to get pretty muddied down, but that is fine. It's the way it should look. Let's go to this blue. I'm going to start with the blue. Just a touch of white, a little bit of red, touch of yellow, a little more blue, a little white, touch of yellow, for this kind of like sky blue on top. And like, I feel like this plane and this plane are very similar. All right, now let's get the shadow color. Let's get a little bit of crimson. And now what's red's complement? Green. Now what I do before I go to my blue and my yellow, I go, do I have any green around here? Yeah, I got some right here. So I'm just going to pull a little bit of that in. Maybe push a little more blue. A little more red. It's like, okay, now it's darkest here and gets lighter until there's this cast shadow from this block on top of it. So the middle is a little bit lighter. So I can take like a lighter pink, kind of brush it in. It still needs to be darker. This little spot that I'm doing needs to be darker than what's up here. It's just a little bit lighter. Now coming back to kind of my darkest value, you don't want to, I'm not like outlining, but there is like a small shadow at the base of shapes here, a little bit. Very, very. It's good to have soft edges on shadows. Now, I feel I can kind of lighten this ground a little bit. So I'm going to come back to my kind of desaturated purple here. just slightly lighter. Yeah, I think that's working a little bit better. Don't want to get it too light. Well, let's hope that like kind of walking through this will help you, like when you go and paint other subjects, whether it's still life, landscape, or portraits. This is going to help. You'll probably be able to see how it translates more in still life, because this, you know, pretty much is a still life. And you probably will easily see in like my still life tutorials, like a lot of things translate in terms of like comparing values, reflected light. But even if something is like complex as a portrait, like there's a lot of reflected light in a face, and I paint it the same way as I paint that. There's a lot of comparing values. When I paint landscapes, like I'm constantly comparing values and colors. It's like, all right, these trees are green, but they're, you know, desaturated, and these trees are darker than the grass. They're both green, but one's darker and one's lighter. So doing something like this is going to help you with anything that you paint. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Have fun painting.